Rocket to have a little bit of a letdown after that thrashing they put on Science Hill last week. But even with the mental letdown, I still do not think Volunteer is ready for them.
So I've got them winning 54-0, but
So I think it'll be a little closer than that, but I do think Crockett wins this one fairly easily.
52-0?
Well, maybe 49.
All righty, so that's Northeast Tennessee really quick. We'll take a break, come back. We'll talk about Southwest Virginia. We'll talk about our Premier Pharmacy Players of the Week. We'll have a quick synopsis of this Abingdon Gate City. We'll have the starting lineups, a lot more here on the James River Advisors pregame show. Again, you're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
Does the volatility of the stock market have you nervous about investing? Do the news reports about a trade war or recession give you some pause about doing anything other than investing in CDs? If so, I invite you to call the experienced financial planners at James River Advisors about their fixed income investments that give solid returns with minimal volatility. Your local office in Gate City is managed by Edwin Cox, and he is ready to answer your questions and believes in establishing long-lasting relationships with his clients based on trust. He is ready to help you with financial planning, investments, and much, much more. So give him a call today at 276-690-8014. Again, that's 276-690-8014. He's located at 122 East Jackson Street, next to Dollar General in Gate City. James River Advisor, Inc. is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only and not intended for the offer, solicitation, or sale or purchase of securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments do involve risk, unless otherwise stated, is not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with your qualified financial advisor or tax professional before implementing any strategy therein. Past performance is not indicative of future performances. Whether you're headed out to the game or if you're looking for something great to eat, stop by and see your friends at the Campus Drive-In just down the road from Gate City High School on Kane Street. They have a tremendous selection of breakfast, lunch, and dinner items, and they're open 7 days a week. Campus Drive-In has supported Blue Devil Sports for over 60 years, and once again, they are the proud sponsors of our halftime show here on Gate City Sports Radio. Please follow them on Facebook and place your call-in orders by dialing 276-386-3702. Again, that's 276-386-3702.
You are listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
All right, we are back here live from Legion Field at Gate City High School, the home opener for the Blue Devils. Blue Devils come in, of course, 1-0. Abingdon comes in off that 45-14 knockoff of John Battle last week. They come in 1-0 in conference play. About 36 minutes before kickoff here, of course, we do want to say thank you to the Big Blue Boosters that helped with the purchase of the new scoreboard. Now we just got to put some points on that board, don't we, Chris?
We do, and that board is awfully close to the end zone. It'd be interesting to see some balls bounce off of it. I hope they've got a little protection up there on that.
So anyway, let's talk about Southwest Virginia football. Let's go around the region. The school that you really like the name of, Eastside at Patrick Henry. These two teams combined for 99 points and 897 yards of offense last year. Cody Smith scored 3 of his 4 touchdowns in the second half, again, as the Rebels prevailed in that ball game. Eastside allowed 515 yards rushing last week in that 51-20 loss to Wise Central. Patrick Henry absolutely just crushed Castlewood 41-6. I've got Patrick Henry in, I think, it's going to be a higher scoring game. Patrick Henry, though, wins going away 54-26.
I'm still putting the call out for my Patrick Henry High School T-shirt. I got a feeling I may get that about the time that Luke Reed dyes his hair green, though.
Well, hopefully, maybe after the ballgame we can get Luke up for an interview and maybe convince him. So, all righty. So, Holston at Twin Springs. Twin Springs came off and knocked off Northwood last week 30-14. First time in several years that all 3 Scott County teams won. Of course, Rye Cove won by forfeit, but again, we'll take a win any way they can. So last year, Holston beat Twin Springs 44-0. This game, though, will be in Nicholsville this time. I think it will go back and forth. Holston brings back 17 starters from last year's team. I think it'll be a close game, but I've got to give the Cavaliers the edge, and I've got them winning over Twin Springs 28-26.
I think Holston has way too many bullets in the gun for Twin Springs. I think this game will be have a little bit wider margin of victory than you think.
Speaking of Northwood, Northwood travels to Narrows. Again, this is a Region C game. Narrows just too much for – this is the third meeting, but the first regular season matchup between these two squads. Northwood actually beat Narrows in the 2003 Region C playoffs, but Narrows is too much this year. I've got Narrows beating Northwood. They knock off the Panthers 42-14. Rural Retreat at Eastern Montgomery. This is the first time these two teams have actually ever met. Eastern Montgomery just was manhandled in that 53-26 loss to Holston last week. Rural Retreat is a pretty good football team. They've got several starters back this year. They've got 15 in total. I've got them knocking off Eastern Montgomery 32-20. A game closer to us, and, of course, I believe WCYB is there tonight. Virginia High travels to Battle Hill. Again, Virginia High at John Battle. Virginia High won this ball game 20-13 last year. Not much went right, though, last week for the Bearcats as they were just absolutely decimated. Tazewell took them, but as you said, behind the woodshed, they had an appointment, and it got ugly. The Trojans did play well in spots last week against this Abingdon team. Again, or Virginia High does hold the advantage in the series 45-11. They've won 5 in a row, but I think – and I'm going to put down, I don't know if this will be an upset or not, I've got John Battle winning this ball game. I've got them beat them 26-23. The streak ends at 5 tonight.
I agree with you. I still do not understand Virginia High giving up that game to play it at Emory and Henry last week. I cannot wrap my brain around losing a home field advantage in a crucial game. And until Virginia High shows that they can put some points on the board, I'm going with Battle.
Maybe they thought that being on the turf was going to give them some speed. Of course, that Tazewell with a lot of speed, and they really showed it, put up 55 points last week on the Bearcats. Shelby Valley at Ridgeview again. In a few weeks, we'll be going to Ridgeview. Ridgeview beat Shelby Valley last year 49-0. They just managed 6 first downs last year in that matchup. I don't think this game will be very close. Trenton Adkins, he was unstoppable against Ji Burton last week, 357 yards. Again, Adkins, I think, hits 200 again tonight. I've got Ridgeview winning going away 28-7.
Our athletic director at Sevier was talking to me last night at our football game, and he asked me if Ridgeview's team and players were all that, and I said yes. Yeah. Quickly and short, yes. Yes.
The end. Next question. So, again, of course, hats off to the job that they've done. They've been in, school for now 4 years. I think they dressed 81 players last week. Everybody in the community. It's a big deal over in Ridgeview.
Well, when you have a winning program, that tends to bring more people out, and hopefully next year Gate City is going to dress a few more, win a few more games, dress a few more, win a few more games.
Of course, that's a combination Ridgeview of Hayside and Clintwood, two historically big powers in Southwest Virginia. Talking about powers in Southwest Virginia, Tazewell at Graham. Again, I think Tazewell is one of the surprise teams this year. They're going to win a lot of football games, but I think Graham, the defending state champions, I think they've got just a little bit more, especially at home. I've got Graham winning, but not by much. I've got Graham winning 38-28.
Joe, I'm drawing a complete blank on last week with that Graham and Bluefield game. Graham won that, did they not?
No.
Was it the other way around?
Bluefield won 41 to.
I was surprised at the margin of victory. I just couldn't remember which team it was.
Right.
So that actually does, though, kind of fall into what I was going to say. I think Graham is going to want to take out some frustrations, and Tazewell, unfortunately, is going to be on the receiving end of that.
Again, Tazewell, I think's got some speed. They've got a great game. If they've got a great game plan, things happen. You never know. But again, Graham, I think's too strong tonight. Richlands at Union. Again, we saw that Richlands group last week. Richlands lost 42-28 last year at home. Union silenced a lot of their doubters though last week. They rushed for 416 yards in that 41-7 rout of Lee High. Bryce Grant, he ran for 153 yards. They had 5 players score touchdowns. Again, Richlands was hurt by turnovers against Gate City. But Cade Simmons, he was impressive. He missed some passes, which, of course, they'd like to have back. He was 16 of 31 for 220. Union at home, hard to beat. Even though Levi Force is probably the best weapon as a kicker in Southwest Virginia, I've got Union winning a close one, 28-23.
I think Richlands honestly was embarrassed last week. And I think they're going to look to kind of restore their reputation tonight, and I think they're going to be inspired to get their coach that 200th win. I think I'll go with Richlands in this.
Richlands, Mr. Christopher says. Talking about upsets, here's mine of the night. Chilhowie at Ji Burton. Again, this is probably one of the top games on the docket tonight. Chilhowie ran its regular season winning streak to 15 games last week as they beat Marion. The Warriors overcame 8 penalties, 4 fumbles, and 2 blown coverages. But Ji Burton has got a lot of speed. Ji Burton actually led Ridgeview 13-7 in the second quarter last week. And before, again, the Wolfpack scored 33 unanswered points. I think Ji Burton with speed at home. Chilhowie only brings back 7 starters from last year's runner-up team. Ji Burton upsets Chilhowie tonight, 30-26.
Joe, have you taken your blood pressure medicine?
Nope.
I think with all the uncertainty going on up there in Norton, that's got to be in the back of the minds of the players. I look for them to be a little distracted. I think Chilhowie wins this game. Of course, what do I know?
Well, we'll see with
considering after our pickings last week.
The picking panel, not too bad. Again, we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. Really quick, George Wythe at Fort Chiswell. George Wythe, a team we will see here in about 3 weeks. Fort Chiswell, they won a ball game last week, an upset basically, but they're too young. I think I've got George Wythe winning big, 50-12. Riverview at Grundy. Again, Grundy beat Riverview 40-12 last year. Grundy's not as good as they were last year at this point of the season, but I still think they've got enough to knock off Riverview 29-18. A game a little bit closer, Castlewood coming off that loss to Patrick Henry. They traveled to Honaker. Honaker knocked off Lebanon 14-0 last week, and again, they looked impressive doing it. They've got the speed on defense. I think they've got too much for them. Chris, I've got Honaker knocking off Castlewood tonight, 35-18.
I think you're right, and I've got a student whose last name is Honaker, and just force of habit, I said Honaker, and he looked at me today, and he said, "You've been broadcasting too much football."
At Honaker High School. All right, talking about starting with H's, Rye Cove plays actually.
Rye Cove starts with an R, Joe.
Very good. For all those listening out there, everybody was starting to write the H. Rye Cove travels to Hurley. Again, this will be Rye Cove's first football game of the season. They won last week by forfeit. Hurley, and I saw them when they played Gate City, probably one of the most physical teams. They were more physical than Richlands, the group that lined up last week. If Rye Cove can get on the corner, they can create problems. They've got the 2 Hardin brothers that's got some speed. But if Hurley is able to get their hands on them, they corral them. Hurley will put a physical beatdown on the Eagles. I think they do. I think they double them up at the Cliff tonight. Hurley wins 40-20.
I don't know that Rye Cove has the ability to get to the corners on Hurley. So, I look for Hurley to win this one.
And last but not least, I know another game that you have circled on your schedule, Twin Valley at Montcalm, West Virginia. Last year, Twin Valley won a back-and-forth game. This is talking about small school football. Montcalm, 218 students. Twin Valley has 188. Back and forth, I believe they go off. I've got Twin Valley, which we saw in the scrimmage against Gate City. I've got them winning by 22-21.
Sure.
So, all righty, with all that said, and that dynamite drop in by Chris, we will take another break. Again, get you ready here. We're about 25 minutes away from Abingdon and Gate City, a pivotal game. This place is starting to really fill up. Again, if you're headed out this way, be careful. Still some parking, looks like, up at the church that is adjacent to the football field, but most everything else is full. So
it's a great night. Great weather, great winning streak right now for Gate City. We've got Bob Seeger blasting over the PA. Where else would you want to be tonight?
It's a great question. No, it is. It's a beautiful night here. And, again, it's the home opener for Gate City. A lot of excitement. Again, we say thank you to everybody that's, again, listening.